Welcome to the show, y'all. Thursday, October 27th. So today, the oil protesters are back. The oil protesters are back. The Just Stop Oil folks. We did a previous segment on them talking about, what was the other painting that they threw tomato soup on? Was it a Picasso? I don't remember which it was. Very famous painting. They threw some tomato soup on it. They've been doing a number of different protests, and so I have three more to talk to you about. Now, what's interesting is I think of each one differently. I have a different opinion on each one. We'll get to that, and I'll break it down for you. Also, got to keep it real with you guys, man. One Joseph Robinette. That's his real middle name, by the way. It's Robinette. His real middle name is Robinette. Joseph Raisinette Biden. He's sort of letting his nuts swang. Dude is letting his nuts swang. So I'll show you what I mean by that. I'll show you his nuts swinging. Thankfully, this is just a metaphor. It's not literal that we're going to look at Joe Biden's ballsack. So we'll talk about that. Then also I got some Trump supporters, Trump voters did a town hall with MSNBC. And wowzers. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot that I'll break down for you. So anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So Citizens for Ethics. This is a group that they're an anti-corruption kind of group, and they got this clip from one of Trump's rallies. Here he is saying something that, you would think that this would maybe like get headlines and people would talk about it and say, wow, that's kind of extreme, but literally like nobody talks about it. It did well on Twitter, got a lot of views on Twitter, but I didn't hear a single thing from CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, any of the nightly news. Now remember, this guy is the de facto leader of the Republicans today. And here are his thoughts on what we do with journalists who report things we don't like.
Easily made public. In this country, they leak all over the place, even on the Supreme Court. By the way, you have to find the leaker of the Supreme Court. You have to find the leaker. You know how you find the leaker? They'll say, oh.
I love how his brain is, he's Fox News grandpa, we all know that, but he's bringing up a talking point from months ago. Remember when we got the news that, oh my God, the Supreme Court's going to overturn Roe versus Wade? We got a leak that said that was going to happen in advance. Well, at the time, the right was outraged. We got to find the leaker. Got to go after the leaker, bro. Now, this is like 89 scandals ago, and so nobody even knows what the fuck he's talking about. Nobody cares. Nobody knows what he's talking about. But he's Fox News grandpa, so his brain glitches. He goes back to a scandal from months ago, and he's like, we got to find the leaker. Got to find the leaker. I guarantee you, there's a lot of people in the audience who are like, the what? Who? What are you talking about?
This is treasonous, what I said. So they can't find the leaker. He leaked all about Roe v. Wade. Look, this person leaked from the Supreme Court. Never happened. You know how you find? But they don't want to mention this because they think it's so terrible. You take the writer, because you're never going to find it. They're going through phone records. It's been a long time. You take the writer and or the publisher of the paper, a certain paper and you say, who is the leaker? National Security. And they say, we're not going to tell you. They say, it's okay, you're going to jail. And when this person realizes that he is going to be the bride of another prisoner very shortly, he will say, I'd very much like to tell you exactly who that leaker is. It was Bill Jones. I swear he's a leaker. And we got him. But they don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. But that's the only way you're going to find. We have to find. Can you imagine they leak?
So let me put this in normal human speak for you. Decode it from Trumpese. We should jail and torture the journalist, the reporter who gave us that leak. We should throw him in jail, have them threatened with prison rape, and then they'll squeal. Then they'll talk. So jail a reporter because I don't like the stuff that they're reporting. I mean, look, you would think, Ben Shapiro, Dave Rubin, Steven Crowder, all these people on the right who cloak themselves in this idea of, I'm all about free speech, bro. Pfft, who, me, bro? I'm all about free speech. First Amendment, Constitution, First Amendment. That's what I'm all about. What's in the First Amendment? It's not just free speech, it's also freedom of religion and freedom of the press. The press. This is a former president, currently the front runner for the Republican Party for the nomination in 2024. And he's like, we should jail journalists. Jail journalists when they say things we don't like, and maybe they get raped in prison. And what are you going to do if they get raped in prison? Maybe they'll learn. Maybe they'll learn you don't say things I don't like. Unbelievable. There's never been a bigger gap in human history between the perception of an individual and the reality of an individual. Because we all know there's plenty of right-wingers who sincerely believe, the reason I like Trump is because he stands up against the wokesters, bro. He stands up against the social justice warriors, and he's in favor of free speech and free expression and a free press. And then again, this is a guy, you guys know this because you're in my audience, but you're like the only people on the planet who remember all these things. This is a guy who sued Bill Maher over a joke because he didn't like it, because it made fun of him. This is a guy who said we should punish flag burning by a year in prison. And this is after the Supreme Court already ruled. Even the far-right justices like Antonin Scalia said, we might not like flag burning, but that's free speech. That's free speech. He says we should, quote, open up our libel laws to sue the media when they say things we don't like. Didn't he just file a lawsuit against CNN for like hundreds of millions of dollars? I think we covered that story recently, and I love how that's just in and out of the national memory. Nobody has been a bigger snowflake and a bigger hater of the First Amendment and free speech and a free press than Donald Trump. And by the way, look, I mean, I think he means this, right? Like, he didn't fucking pardon Julian Assange. He didn't pardon Julian Assange. Julian Assange is locked up because he dared to report the truth about U.S. war crimes. They threw the book at him. Trump didn't pardon him. You know, he cracked down on whistleblowers. So that's effectively waging a war on the First Amendment and free speech and a free press. This is who this guy is, man. This is who he is. So, but no, you won't hear Ben Shapiro, Dave Rubin, Steven Crowder talk about this. They'll be too busy making their, 17th video in a row on some college kid with pink hair who was mean to a conservative speaker. You know? Story that was just in the news was Gavin McInnes was protested. He was going to speak at, I think it was Penn State, and he was protested, and so they canceled the event. And so that is tailor-made for right-wing media to be like, free speech, First Amendment, free expression, free press, all these things. These are all good things. Well, left hates them. They won't say a goddamn word about this. Not a word. Not a word. And by the way, when he talks about, maybe they get raped, you know what I'm saying? Remember, this is a guy who signed a pro-torture executive order as president. So, he's joking when he's like, oh, there'll be the bride of somebody in there real quick, but this is a guy who has zero principled objection to literal torture. Remember, he was like, we got to get tough on the criminals, the cops, rough them up a little bit in the back of the car. Remember when he said that shit too? This is who we're dealing with. He's a thug. He's a fucking thug. He doesn't believe in rule of law. It's funny because that's how they cloak themselves like they do. I believe in rule of law. That's what I believe in. I'm tough on crime, bro. Unless it's my own crimes. And I'm killing innocent civilians with drones. And I'm signing pro-torture executive orders. Those crimes are okay because I did them. But other crimes that black and brown people do, okay, for them, yeah, go after them. Go after them aggressively. Oh, man. Again, barely a blip. Nobody talked about it. Nobody mentioned it. It got 2.3 million views or thereabouts on Twitter, but, not much. Not much, dog. Wild. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.